These are the most relevant news or gossip about what happened during the month in the world of anime, manga Japan, or the otaku community. In one of the most famous events in the world of anime, AnimeJapan 2024 is about to reveal important news. This event will be held on March 23rd to 24th, 2024 in Japan and will include popular animes such as Mushoku Tensei, Jobless Reincarnation, Kimetsu no Yaiba, Ao no Hako, Re: Zero, Starting Life in Another World, Boku no Hero Academia, and many more. Japan never ceases to amaze us with its curious and sometimes somewhat bizarre ideas. This time, the well-known Japanese company dedicated to dating applications Tapple has launched a video game focused on artificial intelligence (AI) called Koisuru AI, which promises to change the dynamics of dating. This game promises to learn about the habits and tastes of players through conversations. The character uses this information to form text and then employs text-to-speech, with a voice base provided by Seiyuu Rikako Ida, to communicate with the player as in previous video games such as Love Plus. Players have the ability to influence AI's personality in relation to them, plus she can be a tsundere or an innocent girl. It will all depend on your interactions to mold her to your tastes, but as many already know, in Japan the birth rate is very low, so some critics are saying that this could negatively affect birth rates in Japan, and as expected the comments about this game are very divided, as for example, my wife will only be inside a screen, but I look forward to the day when I can bring her to reality, or I seriously believe that this kind of applications are the real reason for the declining birth rate. Tell us, would you dare to play it, or would you like to bring any anime character that you like? The following note contains spoilers of the Yofukashi no Yuta manga. After 4 years of being published, the Yofukashi no Yuta manga sadly came to its end, where we can observe that since previous chapters it had been established that Nazuna Nanakusa had completely fallen in love with Ko Yamori, the main character, which causes her to be afraid of biting him to drink his blood. Recall that there was a rumor that if a vampire falls in love with a human and sucks his blood, the human will die, and in the final illustration, both appear lying in the snow, and Ko proposes that they chase each other to death while Nazuna introduces him as her lover. Why, you can see that it ended up being an open ending, as it is not given to understand if they become a couple. PA Works announces a new original anime titled Midnight Punch, featuring a group of cute girls in a must-see comedy. The anime is scheduled for July 2024. The story tells us how a group of girls try to stand out on the largest social video network YouTube, which will lead to several comedy situations. Among these, Japanese virtual reality and metaverse developer Ayaka has unveiled its new project, where it plans to build a metaverse system for a fully virtual high school in Japan. The announcement was made through PR Times earlier this month, and it will carry out the project in a collaboration with Yusur International High School. The virtual school will have a 3-year credit-based course, with a curriculum recognized by the Ministry of Education, Culture, Sports, Science, and Technology of Japan. The highlight of this project is that students will be able to attend the school remotely using customized 3D avatars and graduate with regular school diplomas, so the studies will be valid. Tell us, would you like to attend a virtual school as an anime character? The Goddess of Victory, Nick, is one of the most popular gacha game that exists, where you have a good gameplay but especially waifus. In addition to having many events, this game is also known by the name of Nick, and announced a new event focused on maid, with several missions that will give many rewards, but especially with new characters that follow this popular aesthetic. To celebrate the anniversary of the No Game No Life novels, another Blu-ray box was announced in April this year. This new package will include all 12 episodes of the original series plus the movie No Game No Life Zero, something that has already been included in previous releases. I'm just waiting for the day when I can give the announcement of a second season of this great anime. Konami is one of the largest and best-known video game studios, but it has recently created its own anime studio called Konami Animation and debuted a short film of Yu-Gi-Oh! Card game The Chronicles to commemorate the franchise's 25th anniversary. Konami is doing this with the strategic intent of not only highlighting Konami's commitment to its own intellectual properties, but also its intention to work in collaboration with other franchises. The company's investment in CGI technology and its experience gained in game development will also be directed towards animation. The game of One Punch Man World is causing controversy due to its high costs and microtransactions. This game has just been released by Crunchyroll last January 31st. The title, the free-to-play that has gacha mode like many other game of the genre, but what draws much attention is that in one of his character packs costs $1,000, which is a lot of money, since you can get to pay $100 for a character of a free-to-play game is a lot of money. For example, a full AAA video game for consoles usually goes for between $60 and $70, not to mention all the solid indie experiences that cost even less, and the most expensive of all is the SSR class character pack. it's priced at $999.99, but don't panic, because right now it has a 90% discount that brings it down to $99.99, which is way too much money for a microtransaction, so fans were quick to speak out against this practice, which is really abusive, and even though 90% discounts are usually given at still very high prices. A few days ago, a bus company in Japan Mie Kotsu generated controversy by creating two new anime characters that would be the official mascots, a man and a woman, but it was the design of the second one that attracted the criticism of women, because it turns out that the collective of feminists were upset by the fact that the design of the girl shows her as a sex object and is the only one with a suggestive pose, although such controversies usually make companies back down, as we have seen with anime advertising in Japan, but this time the company Mie Kotsu did not bend, and the company issued the following official statement: "We are aware of the various opinions we have received, but there will be no changes for this campaign, and even the buses with the lettering of these characters are already in operation." New anime of a ninja otaku comes with Somehow I Started Living with a NEET Otaku Kunoichi. This series will be based on a manga of the same name that premiered in August 2021 through the publisher Kadokawa. In the press release, we were not given a premiere date, so we have to wait for more updates on the project. What we were given is a promotional video. The story is about a genius kunoichi who outside of work is a neat otaku, and a salaryman who spoils her a lot. In one of the most watched events by Americans, the Super Bowl, was released a special video in which professional players Patrick Mahomes and Brock Purdy represent the characters of Sukuna and Jogo, respectively, of the popular Jujutsu Kaisen franchise. The video was shared by the sports website Bleacher Report. In a quite unexpected news in China, since due to a new regulation, China has generated commotion among the community of VTubers, forcing them to disclose their real names and face pictures to be able to practice. This law was put in 2023 so the tuber can no longer remain anonymous. In addition, Japanese tubers who create content in China have to follow the same law. Although at the moment it only applies to the biggest tubers, everything seems to indicate that this will be mandatory in China for anyone who wants to be a tuber in that country or create content for that country. Of course, all this generated a great debate in networks, as it is feared that this takes away the right to privacy, and especially that one of the things that makes more special to the tuber is not knowing who is behind the character, as they usually play a character, and keeps the magic of not knowing who is behind the character. Also worries if this could also be implemented in Japan. In Japan, actresses who make adult content are protesting due to a new law for adult content that was released in June 2022, which allows performers to cancel a contract without conditions for up to 1 year after the release of a movie. This period is 2 years for the following 2 years as a transitional measure. In effect, the legislation gives performers the right to stop the sale and distribution of a production at any time within the permitted period. This causes the following: now production companies must wait 1 month after signing a contract with a performer and another 4 months after the completion of a shoot to release the film, which gives the performer time to change her mind and leave without penalty. This has caused adult film productions to be held up by the grace period and has generated Twitters like the following: "Seriously, I've canceled my apartment. I'm too worried about my future because of the new law, and I'm in a situation where I have no choice but to leave my home. Please, I need a job." This was written by Tsukishima adult actress, and this leads to the peaceful demonstration on February 9th to gather signatures. In Japan, a survey was conducted by Gakken Publishing in elementary school students between 6 to 12 years old and middle school students between 12 to 15 years old to know what they want to be when they grow up, and children between 6 to 12 years old said they want to be YouTubers. Besides being the third consecutive year since 2021 that YouTuber was the first place, and also increase year by year. But for high school children, engineer or programmer are the first place. The most famous anime slime is back with the new season of Tensei Shirtera Slime. Akin through the official site for the anime adaptation was unveiled a first promotional video for this new season, in addition to confirming its premiere on April 5, 2024. New technologies never cease to amaze us. On this occasion, OpenAI has made a presentation for its new project called Sora, where it has raised both enthusiasm and concern in the technological and artistic community. The ability to generate videos up to 1 minute long based on simple text instructions has awakened the imagination of many, while creating a debate about the impact it could have on the art world, as some artists fear that that these technologies could replace them, as for example in the case of creating images with a single text or to create anime-style animations with only text. Also, it is feared that instead of putting effort and creativity to a project, they would be created en masse because it would not be very costly to produce new projects in this way. But the biggest danger is to make video of real people without their consent, accusing them of a crime or leaving their image in bad. For this reason have been proposed laws such as prohibiting that an artificial intelligence can create video or images of real people. Of course, it is not all bad news, because with this type of technology many more people will be able to create their own projects with a minimum budget, which would encourage large companies to strive and bring quality products. In Japan, many people believe that Valentine's Day is sexist. The presenter Ayaka Hironaka is one of the people who shares this opinion. In an interview, she stated that chocolates by obligation should be abolished and that Valentine's Day is the day I most wish would be deleted from the calendar, and the reason is from discomfort, as she does not see it wrong for lovers to give each other chocolates or the people you love. However, she wonders why it has become a custom for women to give obligatory gifts to all men as a way of expressing their gratitude. Besides that, the presenter has given examples of her bad experiences, such as when she herself worked at a radio and television station. She had the experience of having to give chocolates to more than 100 people due to the large number of staff members, and so she has mentioned in her opinion, both genders are important at work, so why are only women obliged to reward men with chocolates? This has generated a very big debate in networks, as women saying the gigantic expense and men saying that they spend much more, only to end up being used. The truth, this kind of debates are usually full of rudeness, and this is no exception, but tell us your point of view. In the official site of the anime Sword Art Online alternative, Gun Gale Online announced that it will have a second season and is scheduled for this year. The story revolves around a girl named Karen who is very tall, so she wants to play virtual reality games with a character of normal height, and after many attempts comes to the game Gun Gale Online, where she has a fairly low height and usually dresses in pink, so it becomes known as the Devil in Pink. In a press release, developer Cygames expressed its dissatisfaction with the illustrations that continue to be created on the internet and social media for its popular video game and anime franchise Umamusume Pretty Derby. What it said was the following: that the illustrations do not conform to the established guidelines, which implies that the company does not want erotic illustrations of the popular characters of the series. To go a little more into the subject, we must remember that the characters of Umamusume are based on real-life racehorses, so the company has the idea that desecrating the image of the characters is desecrating the legacy of the horses on which they are based. Although the statement may not seem serious or people may not take it into account, Cygames has kept a strict control and surveillance over the content published on the internet involving the characters of its franchise. In order to keep the owners of the racehorses happy, some even theorize that the mafias of Japan are involved in this business. The company has also said that it will take action against those who defile its girls and thus cease this type of content, at least in Japan. But with artificial intelligence has increased the adult content of Umamusume Pretty Derby after Cygames' threat. Of course, this generated controversy in networks where most are against the company's statement. In Japan, a strong controversy arose against an artist who drew some lolis, but this drawing was based on a real-life controversy. In Australia, the clothing brand H&M made a campaign for a new line of clothing for back to school. This campaign included a photograph of two primary school girls posing in front of a pink background, both in fashionable school outfits, looking at the camera over their shoulder. But what gave the problem was the tagline, which is as follows: "Turn heads with H&M's back-to-school fashion." From what was read in many commentary, it was implied that this inciting children to dress to attract attention by the phrase "turn heads." The company did not take long to remove all traces of this campaign and make a public apology. However, among consumers of lolis content, there is the idea of separating fact from fiction as a way to make it appear that their desires are only for fictional characters, and the artist already apologized, but his Twitter account was suspended, maybe because he received many reports, but due to the position of the company for which the artist works not to punish him. Several accounts linked to the company had the same fate, were suspended, although at first everyone was in favor of the artist to receive a punishment. Now, with the suspension of the other accounts, more and more people are getting upset because they claim not to agree with the censorship. The following note contains spoilers from the manga Yuzaki-chan wa Asobitai. Finally, after a long wait, the fans got what they were looking for, because in the 106th chapter of the manga Yuzaki-chan wa Asobitai, Yusaki and Sakurai take their relationship to the next level and end up having sex for several hours, so fans believe that this will be the last arc. These were the most relevant news of the month. Thanks for watching until the end. Don't forget to check the other videos of the channel. Until next time.